the enlightenment that we've gotten even in the last year on buying local, on shopping local, on supporting your local farmers, your local, whether they're growing your cattle for you or your chickens or your vegetable, is going to be more and more important when and maybe I'm stepping on toes, I think we're going to be to $6 a gallon. I think we're going to be to $6 or $7 a gallon in the next 2 years. I think it's going to get very important that we quit this carbon footprint. Folks, it takes to get 1 calorie of lettuce to New York from California, it takes 60 calories of power. We can't keep doing that. We've got to find it. We've got to shrink it back. We've got to start making local neighborhoods that support themselves. I hate to do this, but back in the old days, you know, the big companies, you actually lived in company housing. You know why? Because you're right there at the company. Now, I don't want them to own my housing and own the store. But I can see where we'll hold a whole opportunity to make communities where if I work for Dell Computer, all my employers are within 5 miles of us. And I think that John's right. As this thing comes of age, we are on a finite amount of petroleum. I don't care what you think. I think that biofuels are stupid. I think ethanol is a dumb idea whose time has arrived. But at this moment, we don't have we've got to go somewhere. We've got to get off petroleum wagon and whatever they come up with. I'm big on wind. I'm big on solar power. I don't think that biofuels are it. But this is all happening because petroleum is getting out of hand. And then so I think it's one of the most, I'm like John, it's negative. It's negative walking into this. But I think it's one of the most important things that's happened to us, and ultimately may be a good thing for us. You know, it's always bad when you get spanked because you did something bad, but you usually learn from it. And I hope we do.
Well, the things that I've seen are identical to what John Dromgoole started off with. We're seeing increases in energy costs, and at the same time we're seeing increases in shortages in supplies of normal products. In the farming community, major nutrients that farmers normally rely on have gotten in short supply, and the prices have gone through the roof. In a way, that is helping organics because they have to make a change. Even if the nutrients are still being used, organics and stimulation of the microbial activity in the soil is increasing the efficiency of those nutrients. And this has been turning the tide on what we're finding. We're getting more and more calls from people saying, what can I do to help my nutrients be utilized better? What can I use as alternatives for the nutrients that I have been using that I can't afford to use anymore? And how can I grow crops because I can't get the products that I need? So this has been throwing a lot of new customers into organics, and they're seeing that things can be done.
Well, I certainly agree with everything else that's been said up here. I will go one step further. One of the things that's really been very exciting to me over the past year is the fact that a few people in positions of political authority are finally waking up to the fact that organics do exist. I was very gratified. I don't know how many of y'all know Mr. Mark Peterson, that was with the Texas Forest Service for a lot of years. Now is with SAWS. Communicated with me a while back about a farmer rancher who had contacted SAWS and said, I want to be environmentally sensitive. What products are safe for me to use over the recharge zone? Mark emailed me his list of recommended products, and I just almost fell over. Everything on there was organic. Everything on there was the kind of product that Howard, John, and Bruce, and Malcolm, and I all have talked about for years. And it just, I couldn't believe it. Maybe SAWS is finally waking up. I realize maybe that's one voice in the wilderness. But the Texas Department of Agriculture, the commissioner has formed an organic advisory board. I was reading down the list of the members and thinking, why have I not heard of any of these people? And then I got to the last guy on the list. And it's somebody that I think y'all know fairly well that's sitting over here to my right. Somebody in state government is actually acknowledging that organics exist. And I don't know whether they're trying to find a way to deal with us and do away with us, or whether they actually want to listen to us. I guess time will tell that. But I think more and more we are seeing an awareness of our public officials that they're realizing that organics are important to a large number of us. And I think that's a very exciting thing, and boy, that's certainly a big change from the way it has been in the past. There was one of these questions somebody wrote in, and y'all are great. I mean, I was trying to go through and categorize what these questions are, and it's so across the board I can't do it. So what we're going to do is just take them one by one and let the different members of the panel or say whatever they would like to about it. But one person, I guess this is why we do this anonymously, said, "I see a lot of gray hair in the group today. What can we do to," but then they wrote it wrong, incorrectly. They said, "What can we do to get more young-minded people into the next session that we have?" My answer is that every one of you guys here is young-minded, no matter how many years you have on you. But I think the question is very valid. How do we get more young people involved in this? And I would tell you, I think one of the answers is remind them that it's their kids and their grandkids that we're doing all this for. To have those kids grow up normal, to have them grow up without ADHD problems and ADD and all these other things. Organics play a really, really big role in this. So it's up to you guys to get more of the young, chronologically people into this room next time around. And I realize lives are busy. This is certainly Memorial Day weekend is a very, very busy time. But you guys are the ones that need to bring more chronologically young people in, and I think that especially young parents, people with young children would be the first to recognize, if they simply know the dangers that are out there with chemical pesticides, with chemical cleaners, with chemicals in the plastic bottles, in the furniture that we have in our homes, and our fabrics, our draperies. If you want to know more, tune in 5 o'clock this afternoon. Bruce Dooley, Organic Matters on KTSA. But you are the guys that need to kind of bring these things to the forefront and to the attention of your kids and grandkids so that they will develop an even larger awareness of the problems that are out there. And maybe we'll have to change things around. We'll put all the booths inside here and we'll have our organic roundtable out in the big room out there next time around. But anyway, that's my 2 cents worth about what I think is one of the most exciting things that has happened. So let's just pick a couple of these, and I'm just going to ask the question and let whoever wants to respond. I know this one is probably, Howard can respond to this best, and Malcolm may want to chime in, but question is, what is the difference between the professionally made Garrett juice and what you can make with a recipe off of dirtdoctor.com?
Well, first of all, I would be delighted to have gray hair.
Maybe this will make you grow.
None of these 3 products work. I've tried them all. A lot of other things. And by the way, on the young people thing, we're seeing some pretty exciting things. There's a fellow in Fort Worth, wealthy developer by the name of Rainwater, who is financing a school project where they're going into schools, primarily low-income schools, but kind of across the board, and they're funding and teaching the kids how to garden and helping them set up gardens at the school, and they're organic. They're very much interested in organic. So we're seeing a whole lot of that. We're seeing a lot more interest in the schools putting in gardens, and we're seeing a very high percentage of them being organic gardens. And I think a lot of the teachers are teaching more environmental things. The whole world's gone green crazy. You know, every time you turn on TV or the radio or pick up a printed piece, it's talking about green this and green that. Unfortunately, a lot of it is not all that green. You got to be a little bit careful about some of the stuff. The Garrett juice. The Garrett juice formula that we make available to you all the time, that's on the website and in the books and everything, it's exactly the same except for one thing. The commercial people have to put some phosphoric acid in to keep it from blowing up in the shelves. And that's really the only difference. You can make maybe a little better Garrett juice than the commercial stuff. Phosphoric acid isn't terrible. We'd rather it not be in there. But yeah, the formula that you have available to you, if you're a mix it yourself kind of person, it's a great thing. One thing that we are doing now, and one company has fulfilled it so far, and it came out of talking with Dr. Mike Amaranthus again. He convinced me that the beneficial fungus, this fungus, really likes fish. So we've added fish to the basic formula. And so you can add it to your Garrett juice formula or not, depending on whether you mind the little odor that comes from it. But there's no difference really other than the phosphoric acid.
Fish emulsion, fish products, odor? I don't understand. Anybody else want to speak to that? Malcolm, you're one of the people that bottles.
Drinks if you can just buy.
Garden-ville been in existence a long time now, and I didn't come up with all those ideas. Actually, almost all of our products